Hello, everyone. It is Rob the Replicator here, and I'm doing a video about the shocking truth about being a CG creator, what it's really like behind the scenes. Strap yourselves in because you're not prepared for the insanity that you're about to receive. All right, I've made a document with some points, and we can go over them. And yeah, let's see what I've written down here. So negatives. You will potentially be gatekept from a mainstream comics job if you're any sort of a creative person in the industry, a writer, artist, colorist. If that is what you're looking for, if that is your dream goal, and it's not something I'd recommend. I'd recommend doing it all yourself and making your own product. But if your dream is to work for the big two, you may want to consider not associating with CG because they don't like CG at all. Some people will not work for you because of you being CG. That is true. That has happened. There's we've seen people that are on books and then they've found out people on the book were CG and they've quit. That has happened plenty of times. Um, you will receive online hatred. Yes, you will. At the level that I'm at, it's very, very minuscule. I think if you asked Ethan or Anna or Shane, who are a lot bigger than me, they would have a completely different take on this. Like they receive tens, hundreds times the amount of abuse I receive. At this level, you just fly totally under the radar, and no one really cares about you, which is fine. It's great. But I mean, if you're, the worst thing you get called some horrible names. So I mean, if you can't tolerate being called that, it's not the place for you. Um, so that is something to definitely consider. You'll be shunned by other comic creators outside of CG. Yep, this happens as well. A lot of independent comic creators think that CG is the devil, and they won't listen to any sort of discussion or debate about anything outside of that belief. So there's nothing you can do. You can't convince them. You can't change their mind. They think CG is the worst, and if you join CG, you're basically dead to them. So if that is something you care about, that's another reason why you shouldn't join. But I mean, really, who cares? You will receive a lot of banter from people in the chat. If you have thin skin, it's not the place for you. I mean, this is true. Like, I get called unintelligent, stupid haircut, stupid face, you know, all stuff like that. But I mean, it's hilarious. I have so much fun with it. If you are very self conscious about how you look or who you are as a person, if you can't handle, friendly banter, again, it's not the place for you. Um, there are crazy people in and around CG. I think that's true with everything in life. It does seem that in comics there are some real crazy, just weird people, but there's not many of them. Again, it's not a huge deal. I wouldn't concern myself with it. I mean, you just have to, like you do in real life. If someone is, you don't like the way someone acts, you just don't interact with them. You just push them out of your life. It's not a big deal. Again. Okay, you will always be seen as the bad guy. I think that's pretty accurate. Um, but I mean, by who? I guess by a small group of people that thinks Comicsgate is the worst. Who cares what they think? Uh, but yeah, I mean, that will be the narrative. They will be trying to say that Comicsgate is bad, and therefore you're bad by associating with it. Again, if that is something that doesn't sit well with you, it's not the place for you. Some people think certain things should be done a certain way. That is very true. You'll get that all the time from every different source possible. You should be doing your book this way. You should be launching it this way. You should have this perk. It should cost this much. It should, you should have this many pages. It goes on and on and on and on. I mean, you just got to take it all in stride, listen to it, try and discern if it's good feedback or not, and if it is, take it on board. If it's just people being haters, just ignore it. Um, this won't change, and I think people will always critique other people on the way they think it should be done. I don't think it's specific to comics or Comics Gate. That's just life. There will be drama. There is always drama. Um, this person doesn't like that person. This person said this thing. I don't even know what you say about it. I mean, who cares? It's funny sometimes. Sometimes it goes on for too long. Sometimes it's not funny. Sometimes it's the same thing over and over again. But it's entertaining most of the time. And again, like this is not. I mean, if you're one of those people that just believe the work should speak for itself, there's no point coming to CG, because this is like a place where people interact with the actual fan base. So if you're thinking the work is just going to speak for you, it's not going to speak for you well here. Um, you will only get out what you put in. I mean, that's true again. You know, like I was just saying, that there are chats, there are streams, you're interacting with your fans and other creators. If you're not willing to do that or don't want to do it, you won't get much from being CG. You honestly won't. Some people seem to think that you just type, put the hashtag I'm CG and money starts pouring in. It doesn't work that way. You have to build these relationships, these connections with people. You have to build your own channel, make friends. Like it's work. It's not just putting something out and everything turns amazing overnight. It doesn't work that way. So these are all the negatives. I tried really hard to take this somewhat seriously, because when I first looked at coming into CG, you do the normal thing. You go look at what is CG, and you go to the Wikipedia, and then you find all these horrible, moments in time that have been singled out and by people that hate CG. It doesn't give you an accurate representation of what actual CG is to be in and be in as a creator. So I tried actually really hard to come up with these as points that may actually put you off being in CG, right? So these are the things I actually think some people won't like or won't be able to handle, or if any of these are too much for you, it's not the place for you. In saying all that, none of this bothers me at all. Like for me personally, I don't care. Gate kept from mainstream Marvel DC jobs, don't care. Never wanted to do it anyway. Rather create my own comics. Some people not working for you for being CG. This is an irritating one, because I love art and I would love to see all the best artists that we can possibly get into CG. Some people just won't do it. You receive online hatred based on popularity. Again, doesn't concern me. Maybe if I was hugely successful, like up at Ethan's level, for example, and he's receiving hate daily, that may be a different scenario. But at the level I'm at, it's easy, man. It really is. You'll be shunned by other comic creators outside of CG. Yeah, I mean, initially, like whenever someone had an argument like CG is the worst, I would try and have a conversation with them and try and explain my point of view. It's pointless. It really is. There is no point. Um, if someone's willing to have an open discussion about it and try and understand it, go for it. But like I said, it seems that these people have made up their minds about what CG is, and trying to change their mind actually breaks like the fabric of what they believe. So it won't ever change. It won't ever change. You receive a lot of banter from people in the chat. When I first came in, this was a little bit confronting, because I didn't know how everything works. So I'm just, people are in chat like saying, who's this guy? This guy sucks. Why does he look so weird? Whatever they said, I found it like a bit confronting at the time. But like once you realize it's just how people hang out and banter and chat, it's just like being on the school ground again, like, with your mates, like you give your mates heaps of grief. It's just kind of what it is in CG. If you have the thin skin, it's not the place for you. I mean, it's the same thing. Uh, Crazy people in and around CG happens. I wouldn't worry about it. Honestly, you'll always be seen as the bad guy. Again, I don't care. I don't care. Some people think things should be done in a certain way. Yeah, I mean, this can get annoying sometimes, I guess, but not. It's like a mosquito bite in terms of how annoying it is. It's just a little bit irritating. Drama, yeah, drama gets old sometimes. Sometimes it's really entertaining. It's like watching a train wreck kind of thing. Like you can't turn you can't look away kind of thing. It's very interesting. You'll only get out what you put in. All right, so let's highlight these ones. These are the positives, right? And you can be like, why are there only so little positives compared to negatives? Well, it's because I tried really hard to think of what the actual negatives are, but for me, these are all like not important. They don't really have any sway over me at all. But maybe they do for someone else. Maybe for someone else thinking about joining CG, something in here will be the reason that they're like, no, it's too much. I don't want to have banter with the chat. But there you go. It's the most fun I've ever had working in my entire life. Full stop. Everywhere. This is the most amount of fun I've had. It is like, apart from social life, family, friends, this is awesome, man. We get to hang out on streams, make comic books, interact with people that are buying the comic books. You can't buy that. That is absolutely incredible. Uh, I love it. It's just, yeah. What else can I say? It is the best. The support you get from other creators and fans is incredible. This took me ages to get my head around, because like I came from Kickstarter, and Kickstarter was very, very much everyone for their own good. But here it's more like a community or a network, and everyone interacts and everyone seems to try and help each other out, and we all try and help each other promote our campaigns, and the support you get is just crazy. It's amazing. I've never had the amount of people that care about me and my book in CG dwarfs anything I've ever had previously. Like I've had some amazing fans, amazing supporters, but the sheer volume of it in CG is something that is just crazy. It's massive. The success you can achieve here is nothing like anywhere else. Again, I mean, I believe this. I really do. The success I achieved on Kickstarter, like we did pretty well. We got to like 300 backers when I first started out, eventually, after a couple of campaigns, which is great. Uh, we made less than 10,000 US, which is fine. It was great at the time. But, you know, recently we nearly hit 50,000 US in CG with a campaign. So I just don't think whatever I did back on Kickstarter, I could have achieved the same success as I have in CG. I just don't think there's any chance that would have happened. Positives, again, so this is the same as one of the negatives. You will only get out what you put in, and I think that's great. The amount of work you put in and effort into your product and your streams and your interactions with your fans and your other creators. I mean, that's how it should be, shouldn't it? Like, you get what you put in. So, I mean, that's it, guys. I don't know what you think. I mean, I tried really hard with these negatives to make them sound negative, but for me, like I said, they're very, like, not important at all. And the positives far, far outweigh the negatives. Far, far outweigh. Like, if I was going to put it like a score system on this, like how much out of 10 does all this bother me? let's say 1, and positives. How much do I like being in CG out of 10? 10. That is how I feel about it. All right, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think. I'd really be interested to like hear from like some of the bigger guys what they think it is, because I'm sure it'd be a lot different to how I see it. And they would have experienced a lot more, negative, hateful comments than me. So for me, at this level, it's great. It really is. Yeah, and maybe when I build up a little bit bigger, things will get more negative. But you know, I don't really care. So love it here. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'd be interested to see what if the fans did a video like this as well. What the negatives are and what the positives are, because like, yeah, interacting with the fans is the best. All right, I'm going, guys. Thank you. See you later.